Dan,
Kyle,
what's up, man?
how are you?
We're Dan and Kyle. We started a gym called The Fort.
Yep, about 6 years ago now.
Our goal was to take it seriously,
And to do what works.
and we have got something to share with you today.
Yes.
It's the number one thing that people get wrong about training. We've been griping about this all day,
Yep.
and now we're going to go and get it recorded and share it with the world.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them or do you want me?
I want you to tell them, but I will say the reason that it is top of mind right now is because this is the exact time of year where it seems to show up in its worst form.
Yeah. And it really, we see it every year. We see it coming.
Yep.
What did you say to me today when we were training?
That training, what do I have to do?
What
do
you
we
have
have to
to
do?
do?
And then I said, what do I have to do?
What do you have to do
to convince
get this
people
through to people?
To convince people that training is not seasonal.
This is the number one thing.
Yes.
This is the thing.
Yeah. This is
if we got one thing through to people, if we got one thing, and we die, if we left our mark on the world and we got this through to humanity,
yes,
we would be able to die happy.
Yes.
And die that we lived with just cause.
Yes. And I'll say it even, it's a very particular way of saying it. I'll say it in a more friendly way. Taking care of yourself is not something you kind of dabble in and out of. It is something that should be on your mind all the time. If you are not taking care of yourself, you are robbing the world of your potential, and you're robbing yourself in a lot of ways of your happiness. I just don't see a way of really ultimately being fulfilled if you're not taking care of yourself. And that can mean training like we train. It can mean a lot of things. But to ignore yourself or be like, well, I'm going to put myself on the back burner because it's the holidays and, whatever. I just see a huge problem with that.
What do you think is the core reason behind this? Like the core reason that people can't get this concept through to them, that the training is not seasonal, that exercise is not seasonal, that physicality, to taking control of their health and their fitness is not like a seasonal thing.
I think particularly
root cause.
Yeah, I think particularly this time of year, and the other time we see it usually is like kind of midsummer. I think people just get distracted and overwhelmed with other things. I think other things pop into their life. There's a lot of obligations and other stresses, even happy stresses, but stresses or things that are out of people's norm this time of year. And it sets them off of course for what ultimately should be important to them.
True. But, this stuff happens and they don't stop doing a lot of other things.
True.
People don't stop showering.
No,
they don't stop brushing their teeth. They don't stop. There's a lot of things that they don't stop, but fitness, they seem to just, there's a natural, normal excuse to not spend any time on their fitness.
Right. Well, when people are time stressed or financially stressed or kind of anything comes out of left field that they're not used to, their fitness routine seems to be the first thing to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Why is that?
Why does fitness get put on the cross first? Why is it sacrificed first?
I think people see it as an expendable idea. And really it's the should be the least expendable idea. And I'm not talking about working out here. That's the way that we do fitness.
That's a really important distinction to make here.
Yeah.
We're not talking about working out.
No, we're talking about taking care of yourself. And we do it or our framework based on our business is kind of the physical manifestation of that. But even bigger picture, I think when things pile up or there is any kind of curve in the road, that taking care of yourself, taking care of your fitness is kind of the first thing to go. Everybody kind of sees, not everybody, but a lot of people see that as the expendable thing.
Well, I think it's convenient too.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, they dread their workout.
Yeah. A little bit of that too, right?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if they were, just following their instincts, it's like, get rid of the thing I'm dreading the most,
Yeah.
And I mean, not a lot of people are on they're just working out. So when you're working out, there's no, it's not a plan or a system in place. It's if you miss one of your workouts, you just missed a workout. It's not like you missed that stage of the progression of your training.
Right.
So systems of accountability are really like they go beyond, they transform the working out into training, which is an important thing to, to distinguish, because once like people that are on a plan, I think are much less likely to miss one of their training sessions than someone who's just in a routine of working out.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Once you start having layers of accountability, when you feel like you're actually on a path and not just kind of going and doing randomized things, because I'm sure, like, let's say conversely, I have no idea if this is true, but I'm going to assume that like therapists, for instance, probably see an increase in business this time of year. I would imagine.
You think so?
I don't know. I would think, I mean, a lot of people struggle around the holidays, and I think that like people who can find support in that way would probably choose to do so. So yeah, but a therapist is almost like kind of a personal training relationship, right? Like you have this relationship with a specific person who hopefully is there to help you, and you feel tied to that system. You're not just out there kind of floating on your own, reading books or whatever, trying to do self-help stuff. And I think there's a huge distinction in that. I think people need and can really value support. It's not accessible to everyone, but for the people that it is accessible to at whatever level, it's just massively huge. And the consistency of that, the working on yourself constantly, the building, you have to work on yourself. You have to improve yourself. It's really how you can deliver for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your business, whatever it is. This is not a selfish endeavor. It's actually quite the opposite. If you can develop yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever part of you needs help, it is the least selfish thing that you can do.
Yeah, because you're influencing everybody around you.
Yeah.
And I mean, think of the power that you have. I think the people that you have contact with every day and the meaningful interactions that you have, good or bad, with them, and the impact and imprint that you leave on the world every single day, even though it's really easy to take it for granted. And imagine you're in your very best self for all of those interactions. And then imagine that you're in your very worst self for all those interactions. And then just think about the downstream trickle effect of that, the ripple effect of that, not trickle effect. It's powerful, man. I mean, you could really like change the course of a lot of events.
Yeah, for sure. And this circles back to the beginning, which is, this is why I'm feisty about this, because I feel like people don't see that. They don't kind of see the bigger picture, and they're like, oh, I'll just not really pay attention to myself for a while. And it's heartbreaking to me. Like, it's just a backwards way of looking at it if you're really trying to build consistency and just build a real functional operating system for yourself.
All right. So what do people do? What do we do? Well, all right. We agree with you. Okay. Yeah. Fitness is not seasonal.
Yeah.
Where do I start? It's almost the holidays, Dan.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to do here. I'm traveling.
Yeah.
I've got my in-laws.
Right.
I'm taking off work. My work's going to build up while I'm not getting it all done, dealing with my kids and all the food and how am I supposed to what am I supposed to do with this information now, Dan?
Well, I mean, I think people make it more complicated than it is. Even if you have to scale back a little, it's, if you're training with like some sort of focus, some sort of intensity, some sort of efficiency, if you are seeing a therapist, if you are going to a yoga facility, whatever your chosen modality is of taking care of yourself, whatever it is that you need to do, I mean, it really very rarely requires more than 3 hours a week if you're in maintenance mode, right? So it's like find 3 hours a week to just, maybe you don't make progress, but at least you maintain what you've done and you stay in that rhythm and that routine. And I promise you, for everybody who wants to kind of jump back in January, your January self will be very happy that at least you kept moving and kept doing it. And, January 3rd comes along and you don't feel like you're made out of stone after your first workout.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a big thing that people could benefit from getting rid of is the feeling that it has to be terrible. Like that your workout or whatever you sacrifice for your fitness or for your exercise has to be some sort of like catastrophic event where you're like covered in sweat and you like push yourself to the brink of death. It just doesn't have to be that.
No.
It doesn't even have to be that long. Like, I mean, one of the best months, like I remember in my fitness is where I did 100 burpees every day. And I mean, I still trained every day, but I did 100 burpees with no time pressure.
Right.
I just had to do it in a row and I had to do it every day. And on average, it probably took like 10 minutes, and for different people, it could be different amounts. You don't have to do 100, it could be, 10 minutes of burpees. And you might have days where you only do, 3 or 4 a minute, but you'll feel better if you stay committed to that process and you keep showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
Like having a plan, any constraint, and just following through with the plan is progress. And we love that feeling of making progress. Ultimately, that's what it's about. Right. That's what brings about our best selves, is when we're moving forward toward a goal, not when we're ever getting to a goal. There is no goal. There is no place. The process, the time investment in order to improve our current state is what feels great. And you can be in a commitment to that as a daily practice, and it doesn't have to be catastrophic. It doesn't have to be, an hour long and leave you on the brink of death, in a puddle of sweat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've talked a lot kind of like touchy-feely philosophical stuff from a very pragmatic approach. If you're someone who values your fitness and well-being, the more time you can spend on it consistently, the longer that consistency is, the longer it just becomes who you are, the easier it is to maintain and the easier it is to manipulate the variables. If you're always starting over, you are just never going to get to a place where it is who you are and where you're comfortable with it.
And that's the key of it's who you are.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
You no longer have to decide like whether or not I'm going to. You don't even think. It's just who you are.
I think most people want to see themselves as people who take care of themselves, right? We should.
Yeah.
And again, people have loads of responsibilities and a lot of different circumstances, but none of those things can really happen or happen optimally if you're not at some level taking your care of yourself. And if you're training at a high level with us and you have those kind of means and that kind of availability, that's wonderful. That's great. That takes a lot of the decisions out of your hands. But there are plenty of things that you could do at any level, ideally, to just try to move the needle forward. I mean, it's really a worthwhile endeavor. And I know people struggle with this. They struggle with information and finances, and there's a lot of different socioeconomic barriers, and all those things are true. We certainly recognize all that, but kind of in the big picture, it's like just see what kind of step forward you can take, and don't take a break from it. Try to keep moving forward.
Make it who you are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good for today, I think. I'm Kyle Fields.
I'm Dan Trink.
We take this seriously.
And we do what works.
Cheers.